this first season, Ben, it was so good. It was so good, smart, really exciting. It had all the levels. When you were talking about taking on this character, this world of Alex Cross, these writings, what was your main goal?
You mean from the start?
Yeah.
Oh man, wow. I think for me, and first of all, thank you. And hello, New York. It's amazing to be back here. We have so many fond memories of launching the season 1. By our first stop was New York Comic Con. And so it's great to be back for our first stop for season 2. When I go back to what I was thinking in the beginning, I'm a big thriller and mystery, so when I was a kid, those were my favorite books to read growing up. And my mom used to even just pass me down the books that she loved, and that's kind of what gave that bug to me. And so I've always been, drawn to those types of stories. And when I had to step in and consider taking on such an iconic series as James Patterson's Cross series, I started thinking about, well, what can I do what can I bring to this table, especially something that's already been a movie. It's already been, multiple movies. And so at first I was a little hesitant, and then I went back and reacquainted with the books, and I started thinking about and noticing all the things that are in the books that hadn't really been depicted in the movies yet. And I felt like television, a show that gives you a great mystery and keeps you on the edge of your seat at all times, and yet the reason you keep coming back is for the characters. 100%,
and yeah. And these were characters that very early on viewers really connected with. And you didn't have to do a lot of place setting for them. You kind of dropped us into their world and immediately let us know who these people were. And for you guys who are back to New York Comic Con, how different is it this year versus last year?
Well, let's see what y'all think about the first season. That's the difference right there. There was a lot less people in the hall last time. This is crazy.
And last season, where were you in the production schedule of the season?
We had wrapped, last year, we had wrapped season 2.
You'd already wrapped season 2?
Yeah, we had wrapped season 2.
Because you did them back to back.
Yeah. With a little bit of a break, but we were already done with 2 seasons, knowing way too much information.
So I was going to say, that is so risky, because also, you could have been talking about season 2 without even knowing it.
Do you realize? I know. It was very difficult. It was very difficult.
But this is good. I mean, avoiding spoilers is...
Well, the thing is, we've already shot season 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
There you go.
We're holding back secrets.
Yeah,
that was the spoiler.
But these characters really did, we immediately got them, and we talked about the relationship between Alex and Samson is so key to the story. Because, it really gives us both sides of this world that they're both working in. One who is, excellent at his job, but not crushing it at life. And the other one,
crushing.
He's trying really hard, but this character is so well fleshed out in this show. Was there anything in the books that you saw that you were like, I have to make sure this is portrayed on screen by him?
So, actually, no, not from the books. I went and talked to James directly. My 2 sort of North Stars when it came to approaching this was, one, talking to Ben to understand what his real vision was, right? So we could make sure we execute that. But then when I talked to James, I wanted to know about the foundation of the character for him, what was most important to him about the character. And, just the principles that inspired what this character became. So, a few things that are really important is, one, his intellect is really where his superpower lives. Emotional maturity. I think for how we get to display it in the TV format, vulnerability. That to me is a true measure of strength, is being able to explore and express your vulnerability, dig in and dig through it, fight for yourself. And that's what makes it worth it for me, because we get to explore real lived-in values and experiences. It's not topical, right? Ben said, you know what you come for, but then you learn what you stay for. And for us, I think on the performative side, it's equally aligned. We are staying because our characters are so rich. It is based on the relationships we get to have, the relationships we establish, and then when it comes to another season, we're looking forward to the things that may shake up, may change, may surprise even us. Because I'm gonna tell you, as cast, we got a lot of stuff.
You gave viewers trust issues. You made the nice lady, well, she wasn't that nice, but the nice lady from Schitt's Creek an absolute maniac. And then she set herself on fire. Like, nobody saw that coming.
Trust issues or survival skills? I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
I feel like Elle is the one with the real survival skills.
hey.
I mean, she does her very best with what she served. You know what I'm saying? We love it. We love to see it.
But how great was it for you guys to get those scripts and see like, oh, because there were characters that I thought like, oh, she's definitely in on this, and then she was actually not. You know, the boss. But
Without that's see. So one of the things, one of the premises I start with is, and I love this, but it also makes it very challenging, is how literary audiences are. Now, today, even more so than when I was coming up, even more so than when I first got into the business, audiences are so aware of story structure and how things are presented and what those things mean. So you can find yourselves with the audience getting ahead of you very quickly just by doing a typical villain introduction. And then when we flip the score, and it's the same thing like with Miss Nancy. You gotta bring her in, right? And you gotta bring her in a way that's gonna make people be completely distracted from her, because she just seems like the sort of that character that we all know that gives you a little safe harbor when you're dealing with something really crazy. And then she flips the score. And even just going with a more mature woman is a surprise for a lot of people. So we try to do that all the way through, and we continue to try to do that. Just take advantage of the fact that our audiences are so smart right now.
Y'all are smart and make us up our game. That's what
We'll try to use
Y'all
it
are
against
smart.
you now.
We see y'all in the comments. We see y'all.
But it helps also that you're not using Patterson's stories. So nobody can go Google a spoiler. We're all coming in surprised. But you did break some hearts last year with these characters, these turns. For you guys, did you start to think like at any point your character could be corruptible?
Oh, yes. I mean, okay, if you didn't know, when we get a script, we sit down as a family and break bread. So we open up that script and we're all seeing it for the first time, in real time, together. So Mastermind over here, Ben Watkins, would just sit there and watch us all pop off as things are coming up and just enjoy the deliciousness of watching all of our heads spin.
Literally, short of like doing
Yes, yes.
Mind you,
So-
there's also some portions of the script that are redacted.
I was just about to say, I love redacting stuff.
yeah, large portions.
Huge.
So sometimes you might be on the hit list and not know.
That's right. And if you're me, you might redact certain things that aren't even sensational just because you know they're gonna be thinking about it.
It'll be something like Samson kneels down to grab a bag of sugar to put a scoop in his coffee cup. But in the script, it's Samson kneels down. Glass was on the floor, shattered everywhere. He was calling his mama for help. And you know what I'm saying, you just sitting there like, it's been nice, bro. It's been real nice. You know what I'm saying?
So Isaiah, if you guys were reading those scripts in real time, and I brought this up earlier backstage about the scene that you had me at, scene.
Which scene are you talking about?
That you had me at.
Oh, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
When you got to when you got to that scene, were you like, thank God, it's about time?
Man, so
confused.
one of our writers, Sam, I was coming to set one day and I saw him and he stopped me. He goes, "Oh, I got something for you." And I was like, "What? Like, what is it? What is it?" He goes, "Nah, I can't tell you." So you're like, "What is it?" He goes, "Trust me, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it." So when the scene came around, I saw the title of the episode and I was like, is that what he said? He's like, that's what he said. It's like, I was like, oh, this is good. And then I had to figure out like how to say it right without milking it. You know what I mean? Without doing it wrong. You're just like, oh, I gotta sit on this.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite, and again, like these characters are so well drawn, like to get to see this emotional vulnerability and that really like naked emotion and honesty between two men is shocking, and we never see it between black men.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I said we're going to do a little Trojan horse thing here where we get to talk about, love between two black men, brotherly love. And I haven't seen that on television, and I want to show it. And so I told the writers one of the central romance in the show will be brotherly love between Cross and Samson. So I literally said, here's all the little mile markers for romantic comedies, from the meet cute to the and then that's why that came to be, because I wanted to give a nod to one of my favorite romantic comedies, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
I mean, or you can call it a comedy, but that was why that was, and we used that blueprint for their relationship. It is two best friends who are brothers, but it is still a love story.
Yeah, but it was also that time remember when Isaiah came in to test, and then he made it real awkward because like after his test, he just broke down and started crying. And he was like, I didn't know how to take it. You know, he's crying all on my shoulders and stuff like that. You know, he's I'm just so happy, bro. And you know, I was like, I don't know. So you remember that? You want to talk about that?
Nah, I don't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it, but you brought it up. So
You said you was going to be vulnerable in front of the people.
yeah, I didn't tell him that I was crying on your shoulder. You had to bring it up.
I'm just saying, you know. But yeah, you know, we ain't scared. Get a little vulnerable out here.
Love tears, love tears.
You know, I'm cool. Just a little bit emotionally butt naked. Is what we do.
Let's go from two black men in love to two white men who've joined the cast.
That is so awkward.
I love that segue. That's a great segue.
You can only do that in New York Comic Con. San Diego would not be okay. Right, so Wes and Matthew, we talked, how was it joining, because again, the show was up and running, it was going right into its second season, and you guys literally joined in midstream of this production. How was it, and what was your first day on set like?
Well, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I read for the first season, and I came in, and I have me and Ben worked together. We did a show. When I came in, I read the pilot, and I was like, this is amazing. And then I got to read with Aldous, and they were locked in, and I was like, man, it just had an energy about it. I was like, this is gonna be something special, and I cannot wait to be a part of it. I wasn't part of it. Wait, were you in season 1? No, I was in season. I'm not bitter about it. And then, but you know what? Ben had pity on me, and he created this amazing role that I get to do this season. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I got to work a lot with the amazing Janine Mason, who is not here with us. She's got a very good reason.
Send her some love. Send her some love.
And let me tell you, your intro, they kick off the new season, and it is, first of all, so wild, but also so crazy timely. Like, did you see all that happening, like, and thinking, like, oh, wait till they see what we've done?
Oh man! Well, first of all, when you think about it, you have a hit show, and it's a single lead situation where the main character is the name of the show. And then you go to the network and say, we're going to introduce two new characters as the first thing anybody's going to see coming into season 2, and they are already a little nervous. And then you say, here's what we're going to do. They're freaking out. But they trust us, they let us take a shot at it, and I should say some of the stuff that ends up on the cutting room floor, probably good choice, but it was even crazier than what you see. And, but because of the level of folks we brought into the show, we were able to do that. I don't think a lot of shows can do that because a lot of, performers can't do that. And our show could. And Wes, I think there's a better spin than me taking pick. Okay, because I first worked with Wes on Hand of God like 9 years ago. And ever since then, I've always been looking for ways to work with him again, which is why he was in the season 1 mix. And we made sure to get him in because he's such a great performer, but also he's great for our type of crowd. So he was perfect fit.
I do remember reading the opening though when he came and he actually told me the opening when he was pitching the season 2 or telling me what it was going to be, and I thought heavy metal, man. Like this is going to get a lot of people's attention. I'm so grateful to be a part of this whole thing with what he's doing.
Nice. And now Matthew, you guys, I will say I've seen the first episode of season 2, and you are going to see Matthew Lillard in a way you've never seen him before. He is
Naked. I'm naked the entire time.
especially after his
We all saw season 1. It's my turn.
You play after today's entrance. You play. Talk about this guy because he's a billionaire genius.
That's all you have to say. When you think billionaire genius, who do we cast? You immediately think about Matthew Lillard. I had a screen test, and screen tests, if you don't know, like went out of fashion in the 90s. And basically that means is you come into a room and you see all the guys you're competing with, and you have to sign a contract before you walk into audition. So you realize that if you get the job, you're gonna make money and feed your kids. And you see the guys that you're competing against in the same room. That's a horrible feeling. And I get this invitation to come screen test for this part. And my first instinct is like, I've been around a long time. I don't want a screen test. It's terrifying. But then I got the words, and I got a breakdown of the character. And I realized the reason I didn't want to is because if I didn't get the job, it hurts 10 times more. And that's the hardest thing about being an actor, is that you desperately want to be seen, and you desperately want to work, and sometimes they just say no. And so I realized what was standing between me and going and trying to get the job was fear. And so I had the choice, either go in and kick ass and give it my best shot, and try to get the job, or just turn away and say no. And so thank God I made the choice to double down on the effort and go in and eviscerate whoever else was in that room. I literally came in and like, this shit is mine, you can go home.
On set too, by the way.
Yeah.
Came in and were like, this, you guys can go home.
Too bad you're in the scene with me.
Stand back. No, but Aldous was there every step of the way. And it was a big monologue, and then we had a scene together. And I left that room feeling like encouraged and inspired. And then getting to set, Ben has a way of working with people, he has a way of working with the team, and he brought us all together and said, you are ambassadors for this whole show. That we want you to represent the best of us, and we want you to welcome everyone. And he empowered all of us to see the crew, to see the extras, to see the people there for one day. He empowered us to welcome them into the world. And that's how I felt welcomed. And to be a part of this fandom. And remember, this is all before the show came out. So as I was part of the cross universe, I was getting to experience the show with everyone. And it's been just an unbelievable dream to be a part of it.
Nice. That is, and again, it's the tone of the show is so, it's super grounded, but you also have a ton of fun with it. The music choices, the character developments, the moments of genuine, authentic friendship, family love, the way the kids interact. But you have a moment, and this is why we have exclusive clips for you guys, because you can see some of this. We have a clip, it's called Welcome Back, Boys, and it speaks to the Samson Cross broship, and really just the way it feels like it could be something. I'm just gonna have them run it, so you can talk about it. Yeah. Telling the camera on the phone, it's L. Calling. Now Miss L.
Why you got on my phone?
This woman is smart.
Why am I on your phone, Alex?
I don't know.
What can you tell us about? She has her own agency, she has her own strengths, she has her own life, but she is part of his family. She is part of this family no matter how the relationship is playing out at this point. What can you tell us?
Nothing. Nah. I can tell you that the one thing that we brought from season 1 into 2 is the same, which is, preparing preparing for this is really about finding a safe space to love in health and wholeness, right? So that has remained a consistent, and you'll see that in season 2. But what I do love is in that through line, it extends to the kids, it extends to Nana Mama, it extends to what we built already in one that kind of, the pillars actually reach underground into root systems, and it just drives deeper. And so this is beauty, you'll see us, harmoniously, passing bread and just living in that realm, the one safe place where no bad can get us, So that's one thing that I'm excited to pull through into 2.
That was that was so sexy. That was so good. I want that relationship in my life.
I'll pray for that for you, Matthew.
And I want a Samson in my life. I want this guy. I mean, are you basing him on anyone?
No. Honestly, I just base it off the friendship that I had with Alice. Honestly, it's true. It's true.
Who's crying now?
Who's crying now?
Who's crying
Who's
now?
crying now? Exactly. Thank you.
Not afraid to be
Well, he's
vulnerable.
basing it on himself.
I just like, some of the things that the trust that Alice and I have, it really comes through on screen because that's there in real life. I wouldn't be able to perform John Sampson any other way without having him as my partner. So.
Can I tell a story real quick? So we do these table reads, and we're all reading at the same time. And when these two get into a scene, they're like ad-libbing, they're improvising as they're reading it cold. So they're like adding shit in between lines. I'm like, that's not in the script. Like, are they allowed to just make things up like that? Turns out they are.
The improv on set, like season 1 had that whole Old Spice thing reference. That wasn't improv. That wasn't.
That was all Alice. And trust me, I was scared because I thought I was gonna lose my job. But it was so funny that I laughed and I was just like, I'm not saying anything, and I just hope to God they think it's funny too.
So they had something to come at me, blame me. Okay, it's my fault.
Right. We also have another new character coming into the world. In fact, we should run that clip first, and then we can talk about the new character. So let's do that. He got himself a role.
Oh, smooth.
Come on, Ben, come on. Give it up for Ben Watkins, everybody. Come on.
Did you have to screen test? Because Ghostface did.
Yeah, of course, as a responsible showrunner, I make sure that all my potential actors have to go through the audition process and the screen test. And so I had to, kind of go into split personality and put myself on tape and audition for that role.
Self-tape.
Then I had to send that to myself.
And then he made it for 3 weeks before he got back to
And
me.
he was like, oh my God, that guy's amazing. Where did this come from?
Well, I should say it stems from when I started this business. Originally, I started as an actor. And I got to LA and I was working my way through the ranks as an actor and getting even to the point where I was screen testing for roles, but I didn't get cast.
What show did you do, Ben?
He loves making me say this. I eventually, when I got to the point where I got a series regular role, but it was on a soap opera. I played Dr. Wesley Carter on The Young and the Restless. Years ago, and I loved it. But
Did you help restore Devon's hearing? Is that yours?
I provided some therapy for Cricket.
Oh.
And Olivia. And Drusilla, and I was doing a lot of therapy.
Oh, was that during the real problematic Drusilla years where they were like, this like a street girl and she had like...
No. This was when she comes back from France.
She was like the mom. Okay, all right.
I was like, we're talking one and arm fandom now. Don't get this started. But during that time I was starting to write, and I fallen in love with writing. I always liked it, but didn't think it was going to be my pursuit. But the more I wrote, the more I started to lean into it, and I started to transition into being a screenwriter instead of an actor. But I never lost the love for acting, and I still did it a little bit. And then when the writing career really took off, I just kind of saw it in the rearview mirror and would wave at it every now and then. But I felt like I wanted to stretch those muscles again. And so when this character came up and we started auditioning roles for it, and by the way, I'll be in the writer's room and we'll be pitching through scenes and breaking story, and I'll go into all types of different characters. So when this role came up and we were having a hard time finding the right fit, I wonder maybe the showrunner was subconsciously not liking any of the auditions. But I was already getting suggestions from our writing staff in season 2. Sam Ernst and Jim Dunn were co-showrunners, and they were encouraging of it. And they basically were like, why don't you throw your hat in the ring on this? And I just got enamored with that idea. I love the idea of being able to play in that sandbox again, especially with this team. And so that's what happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We have another clip. This is not for the squeamish. I'm not gonna lie. So just be warned. I'll tell you the name of the name of the clip is called Fingers. So let's just look at that and we'll talk about that.
What's in the box?
I heard you guys. It's out of my system, it's fine.
So Alona, so it was mentioned last season that you and Cross worked on the case together.
Yeah.
And he became the national hero.
Yep.
And nobody knew you were on it.
Yep.
And in this season, we see her in a place where she could be elevated. In the scene that you and Ben had, that's basically where he's pitching her this case. But it's one of those cases that it can't be public, because obviously this character Lance, who's described by the way as Steve Jobs in overalls, it has to stay under the radar, but she does get to take the lead in this investigation.
Yes, she does.
So how is that, and what is the dynamic with her and Cross as the lead, and with Ben there?
Ben or what?
Roy. Well, Ben is there as well, but
I mean, she likes to be the lead. She likes to take control. She's like fish in water in that way. So she's not shy to it. She's worked way too hard to get there. So she grabs that bull by the horn. It's hard. And Roy/Ben supports that wholeheartedly because he knows a strong woman. Right, Sam?
oh, does Sam cross paths with Roy?
Sam's a strong woman,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
and so is Elle.
So Roy's making.
That's what I meant.
How was it working opposite your boss?
Okay, first of all, Ben is my friend. Like, we started as co-workers, but there is, for me, the number one important thing is creating relationships that are beyond the work, because that is, inner relationships are most important, the human behind the job. So that was fun. I got to work with my friend in a different capacity than I have in the past, and I got to welcome him back to something that I think he does really, really well. So it was a lot of fun. Also, I'm not gonna lie, at parts I was just like, that's also my boss. So I have to, but I enjoyed it way too much, to be honest with you.
And there's some stuff coming up in the season. We'll talk in a little bit. But I want to get to there's such a deep investment in the family. You know, not just the Cross family, but like the coworker family, the precinct, and then you bring in a character who is a pot stirrer, like Lance, and then I don't even want to.
Wait, what'd you call me?
A pot stirrer.
Oh, pot stirrer. Oh, pot stirrer.
What did you think he said?
I'm old. I couldn't hear you. I was like, what? What did you say?
And I don't want to give away too much of what Wes's character is like, but we do have a clip of what his accomplice, we'll call her? I don't want to spoil anything. His friend? Partner in crime? Partner in crime. So Yes, exactly. A like-minded colleague.
Partner with a shared goal.
Yes, there we go. So let's look at this because she is an intense person. So she seems fun.
She's nice. She's really nice.
Life of the party.
Wes, these characters, Rebecca and Donnie, have some very deep beliefs, we'll say. And it's very dark. How did you guys keep it light after cut was filmed?
I mean, that's typically how I work, and it happened that the people that I work with on this is that in between dark stuff, that we end up joking and having a good time. And it felt like, I remember even working with Aldous and Isaiah, one of our first days, we were doing this chase scene, and we had to hide out in the stairwell, the stairwell, and I was hanging out with and everything y'all see tonight, I was seeing it in the stairwell, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, we were laughing, playing, and then we chase, and we hated each other for, and have the guns, whatever, but that's kind of how it is. And I really got along well with Janine. I think, it really clicked to where we had a really good time. And the opening, which you referred to, I think that was probably the darkest day I had on set. And, rolling the card in, which you guys will see, I'm delivering something to this house, and I'm seeing I'm going around a lot of things, seeing a lot of things. There's a lot of people involved that you all are going to see. And that was troubling to me. Like, that was disturbing, it was shocking, and I understand the point of what was there. But then when they said cut, we were all hanging out, joking, having a good time afterwards. And so I kind of draw energy from that. I like to feel relaxed on set. I like to, laugh and joke and feel like we're on a team and we're supported. And this set was very warm like that.
Nice. You also do a pretty good job, it's a pretty good job, of I don't want to say humanizing the villains, but making it very clear why they're the way they are. What can you tell us about the humanity of these two?
I think it's a hallmark of the Patterson books that they break POV to the villains, and you get to know them, you get to understand them even if you don't agree with them. And there's some sort of you understand what's motivating them. And I've heard it said before that even bad guys, in their minds, they think they're the heroes. One of the themes for season 2 was really this question about what really makes a hero, because there's a vigilante element in season 2, but how far can you take a vigilante element before you turn into a villain? And so there's a question about that, and it really there's some questions about all of our new characters, make you wonder who is the bad guy and who is the hero. And also make you really have to ask yourself what you consider real justice. Because a lot of times it's real easy to say, oh, there's the law, and if you break the law, you deserve justice. But what if the law is unjust? Or what if you break the law and you don't get justice? And so those are some of the things that are going on now with Donnie and Luz. They both feel very driven and very justified in going after some form of revenge, and we go on that ride with them, and hopefully we put the audience in the position where they have to really struggle with that question of whether they take it too far.
They do. Listen, they're the bad guys.
Says the billionaire.
That was
Trying to save the world.
yeah.
I will say the interesting thing about the show is that, it was written 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and when you watch it right now, it's like it was written last week. With everything that's going on in the world, it's playing out over the entire season.
And the opening sequence, I'm not gonna lie, what they do, and when you see the setting and what they're doing and why and to whom, there was a part of me that was like, I'll allow it. I'm fine.
There was a catharsis for what I get to do in the scene. Yeah, there was real emotion behind that.
I can imagine. And talking about the amount of fun that they clearly have, and I felt like it was captured really well in the first episode back at the table, at the breakfast table, with and Elle's there and everything. What is it like working on a set where sometimes they're having more fun than the schedule can allow?
Oh my goodness. First, yeah. See, that's the one thing you gotta be careful with them because they all love each other so much. They start having fun and they start milking things. It's like, yo, at some point we gotta go home. At some point we gotta film. Actually, it's there. Everybody comes and they do their job, but they look forward to doing it, and they elevate the material just because they actually have built these incredible relationships. So, you know, and for me, it's really gratifying because early on, before season 1 ever even dropped, there were questions coming from certain, you know, executives that were just, you know, standard stuff where they start saying, oh, are we with the family again? Or, oh, maybe we're doing too many family scenes and this is the thriller. And then we started getting test results back from test audiences, and the family scenes in a thriller were rating up just as high as the suspense scenes. And that saved those storylines, and now that has become a core piece of our show. And they can talk more about what it is like, because I don't know how y'all do it. Like, I'm sitting here writing a thriller, and then we put a family scene in where we're talking about biscuits, and the audience is loving both the same.
Yeah, it's not often that as an artist in this industry you get to sit in a multi-generational script, right? I got Nana Mama to my right, I got Janny in front of me, and that actually breathes new life and experience into the words that are written on the page. All of a sudden, Janny's thinking, okay, I'm gonna do a little something like this. Nana Mama's taking it, and then we have our thing, and then it lifts from the page. All of a sudden, it's this breathing, living document. And so I think there's so much strength, actually, to the brilliance of Ben and his team and our writing room is just adding these moments of beautiful levity. And you're with us, like the camera's gone, and we're just having a grand old time, right? It's beautiful.
It really is. And by the way, do not mess with Nana Mama. That episode, I was like, no, you do not. You do not end on that scene. Because it was just the sound of her screaming, and I was like, that is not cool. But then I was like, no, she'll take care of business. She will kick his ass. The great thing about season 2 for any show is you basically introduce us to these characters, you dig in with like your main character, and then in season 2, you get to dig deeper into the other characters that surround him. And I know that this season we get Samson, you know, Samson looks like he's having a good time early on. It looks like he's in a good place. Kayla, there's a revelation that I was like, okay, how do we get out of this? Very deeply concerning. And then we have Elle, who is, again, I don't want to say where she is in her life, but like, do we stay on cross to continue doing the work, to earn her back? Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. To earn her love.
No, you know, I mean, I think coming out of season 1, there's a big trust issue. And even though Elle can be a bigger person, put aside her personal grievances with Cross to address what the family needs. That's just being a bigger person. That doesn't mean that she's gonna just let Cross work his way back in easily. That has to be earned and for me, in terms of this relationship, I see this relationship as, you know, these are potential soulmates. So, but what I want to do is make that the hardest thing to find out. And so I'm really just loading more and more onto this relationship in terms of challenges and burdens to see how far can it go and still withstand. And so as much as you can see the natural chemistry and the natural magnetic draw that they have with each other, I really am trying to challenge that, and you still see that in season 2.
Yeah, and that's real though. Like that's what real love is, right? Like it's not the romanticized, all the butterflies in your stomach and the honeymoon phase that lasts 2 minutes. Like this is real, and so I feel like anything worth having in this life should be that hard. Right? Like it should be that hard. It should not be so easy to get. And that speaks to also understanding that our audience is that smart as well. So we're gonna write for you. We're gonna make sure that you know that we see what's in the living rooms of every household, on the streets. You know, like the high school love that ends up in college, great, but what happened? You know, there was miscarriages, there was this, there was that, whatever it may be, but it's real. We fought for it, right? So like, that's why this has been so wonderful to play in this sandbox, as Ben so calls it, is always new and exciting and stretches us because we have to fight. We have to fight for what we want as artists and then within the story.
And I say is that I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100% there. But, I mean, I just need Elle to go ahead and get over it already. I mean, so much. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, ladies,
Like-
let's just take a poll right now.
Well, no, I'm just, but hear me out.
Let's just take a poll.
Hear me out though. What you got kidnapped a couple times. Your life was threatened. You gonna let that come between us?
I'm
Let
sorry.
that come between Cross and Elle?
So how many of you women would just stab with a man that let you know, put you in front of a serial killer? Anybody?
It was like a year ago. Like, why she keep bringing it up? You know what I'm saying? Can we keep
Just ask
in
them.
life? Like, you feel me?
You feel me? Samson know what I'm talking about. You feel me? You feel me?
But did you die?
We got one person? We got one. You got one.
But did you die?
Exactly. But did you die? That's a dead man.
Well, I will say, I also, and this is one of my favorite things, is
Every good relationship. But did you
but did you die?
Nope, we're good.
I love that the show, we talked about, you know, you are exemplifying and personifying Black excellence in a very organic way. It's not like they're a CEO and she's a fashion designer and he's a musician. It's like, these are regular people who are excellent at what they do. They are great. I think you model for a great father. He is a great father. Way to apologize to his son like that, to show up for them, to be there. I love the way the humanity just like drives into this. And I know, Aldous, you maybe have some information to get us, correct?
Do y'all want?
I don't know if I heard y'all.
I mean, we got something to show, we got something to tell, but I don't know if y'all ready. Do y'all want to see it? Don't play it for the people.
There you have it. Season 2 premieres February 11th. Prime Video, and as you can tell, you do not want to miss this. The 8-episode second season will debut exclusively on Prime Video with the first 3 episodes. So do not miss, and we will hopefully see you guys next year here at Comic-Con. Thank you, everyone.